Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing with you the second part of this tutorial on how to cut this blouse with a stylish sleeve. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Let's dive right into today's video. So first, to start, here is my pattern paper, and to draft I'm going to start with the back pattern, which I've marked out the zipper allowance. So you can use 1.5 inches or 2 inches for your zipper allowance. Next, I'll go in and mark my shoulder divided by 2 plus half, because this dress has a sleeve, and I'll come down by 1 inch. From that 1 inch, I'll place my ruler and I'll connect, drawing out a shoulder slope. So next, I'll find my chest line. To find your chest line is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7 inches and I made a mark. Now that measurement you have on your shoulder, you go ahead to mark it on your chest line and you're going to connect. This is just to have a straight line at this point. Now I'll divide what I have here into 2 and mark. From this point, I'll come in by half, and at the chest line, which is also your armhole line, I'm going to mark the bust circumference divided by 4, and I'm going to go ahead to connect from the mid part of the armhole after coming out by ½ inch, then take it down all the way to the lower part. So this is what I have for this part of the dress, and next we are going to work on the lower part. But before that, I'll mark out the neckline. For the back neckline, I used 3.5 by 1.5 inches. So you can also use 4 inches for the neckline, because if you notice, the neckline is not very close to the neck. So I'll just go ahead and label my pattern as chest line, bust, waist. This pattern does not need an under bust. And then you're going to measure or get the desired blouse length. So I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, and I'll add ½ inch for ease, and then 1 inch for sewing allowance. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4, mark ½ inch for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. Also repeat that at the lower part. Mark my hip circumference divided by 4, add ½ inch for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. So why I'm using ½ inch for this is this dress is slightly fitted on the body, and what we are using for the dress is more of a see-through lace, so you should consider using about ½ inch after adding your measurement. So at the lower part, I went up by 1 inch, and I'll just go ahead to connect. This is just to give a curve at the lower part. So after this, I'm going to go in by ½ inch for the zipper line, and I'll extend this up and also take it all the way up. Next, I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So I'll be using this same pattern to cut out the front. That is why I started cutting out from the back pattern first. So after this, I'll just go ahead and I will cut the parts of the dress that I don't need. So after cutting, this is the back, and we'll be moving over to the front. So to cut the front, I'll go ahead to flip in that zipper allowance. I'll fold it in this way, and after that, I'll now mark out the neckline for the front pattern. So I'll place my tape. So I'm using 7 inches for the depth, and I'll draw out the neckline. So now I'll just go ahead and cut this out. After cutting it out, this is what the front looks like. So if you notice, in front of the front pattern, there's a little pleat or design on it. You're going to cut out with a fabric, and you're just going to turn it to the right side, then go ahead to attach it to the neckline, and you can end up biasing the neckline from behind, because this dress is actually a see-through dress. So now to cut out my sleeve, first I'll be marking about 4 to 5 inches space, which I'll be using to create the curve for the sleeve. To mark the sleeve, I'll mark my starting line, which is ½ inch on top. After that, I'll just place my ruler and I'm going to draw that out. After I'm done drawing out, I'll place my tape, mark my shoulder to elbow, and where you want the first part of the sleeve to end. So after marking that, you mark your sleeve cap height, and to get this is your bust circumference divided by 12 plus 0.5 inches, and I made a mark. So on that sleeve cap height, you're going to mark your armhole circumference divided by 2. Mine is 16 divided by 2, I have 8. Place your curved rule from that point, connecting to the tip of your pattern paper this way, and you're going to draw out a line. So after you're done marking that, you're going to be dividing this upper part of the upper part of the line, sorry, and you're going to go ahead to fold your tape first into 2 and mark the midpoint. So after marking the midpoint, you also divide this side you have by folding your tape and mark, and then from that point you go up by ½ inch. After going up by ½ inch on this other side, I'm going to fold up my tape and I'll divide it again with ½ inch. After that, I'll come down by ½ inch on that side. Now I'm going to be connecting all these dots or mark that I have, starting from the upper part to the last point that I have. So after connecting it, you find out that you have a curve on the upper part of your sleeve. So this is basically a basic pattern for cutting out sleeve. So I'll draw out my line where my elbow and also where the first part of the sleeve stops. Now you want to mark your elbow circumference divided by 2, and for this sleeve you can just add 1 inch or half because this is a see-through sleeve, and I'll connect. Now mark what you have at that point close to your wrist and add 1 inch. So I'll just go ahead and connect this. So after I'm done connecting this way, so I'll go ahead and readjust my sleeve at this part, and after that I'll just cut out the parts that I don't need for this sleeve before continuing to cut out. After cutting out, I'm going to go ahead to connect from that point, creating like a half circle, and then I'll connect it back to the sleeve. So after I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead to use my marker to outline. So at the upper part of the sleeve, I added ½ inch, which will serve as the joining allowance at the upper part. So for me, I think for a particular sleeve you have to cut out 2 pieces and join it back to get that shape, because it's difficult to have that shape at this point without joining your sleeve. So you can now go ahead and cut out the lower part of the sleeve, the remaining measurements you have to complete the sleeve. So this is it, and with this we have come to the end of today's tutorial. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and see you in our next video. Thanks.